Greetings everyone, welcome back to yet another Minecraft thumbnail tutorial. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and ring that bell so that you're notified for the next tutorial as soon as I upload it. Today I'm going to show you all how to make thumbnails like none other than ANTVENOM. All I'm going to say is that his thumbnails are very creative, and that's to no surprise because the content that he creates for Minecraft is pretty creative as well. So we're just going to get straight into it. But before that, I gotta tell you guys what you need for this thumbnail. You're gonna need a couple of things. You're gonna need some Photoshop or Paint.net or some other photo editing software. You're gonna need Minecraft, of course, and you're gonna need a couple of mods. Now, the first mod you need is the custom NPCs. If you're not really mod savvy, then I have an easy and simple alternative that you are not going to believe. And I think we've covered everything that we need. You might need a texture pack, but honestly, that should be optional. But we'll see when we get into the thumbnail making process. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Minecraft to get our first couple of screenshots. Now we're gonna go back into the game and we are going to already be placed into the perfect position for our screenshot, but you might not be. So I just chose a decent or beautiful looking landscape. I could have probably chosen a better one, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So if we look down, you can see that we're well above the ground, and that is because I'm trying to like get a little more of the landscape or a little more distance of the landscape. So I've also gone and set my render distance to like 20 or 4. Now this might lag out your game, but don't worry, you only need it for like a couple of seconds. So I've already hit F1 to disable my HUD or my GUI or whatever it's called, and I'm just gonna take a simple screenshot by hitting F2. I'm probably gonna look down a little. Hit F2. Take that screenshot. That's the first screenshot. And now we need to take 2 additional screenshots of different things. Okay, so the next screenshot that we need is one of the back view of any player. Steve, your player, Herobrine, any player. So I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try going into third person. And now you can see like where I was talking about the alternative. Yeah, so you can just go into third person mode. If you have Optifine, you can zoom in and just take a simple back view like this. And to all of you guys that like to go the extra mile, I'll show you the other way right now. So I'm just gonna get rid of all of this. So if you successfully install the custom NPCs mod, if you go into your inventory, you should see that now there is a 1 out of 2 text right here. There should be some arrows. So if you go into the next arrow, you get put into this entirely different tab, and on the first tab there should be a wand or a hoe, a brown hoe, and it should say custom NPCs tools. Now you're gonna go over here and hover over this hoe item, and it should be the custom NPCs wand. Okay, so now we're gonna make this a lot easier for ourselves by selecting this person in Photoshop. So we're gonna go over here, gonna hide his name. We're just gonna leave it at Steve because ANTVENOM uses Steve a lot in his thumbnails. Living animation, no. We're gonna go to the AI tab. We're gonna go all the way down to movement and press edit. Now we're going to go to rotation and set that to manual so it's not turning around like every 3 seconds. And now we're gonna hit done. Actually, it actually turned around the opposite direction. So just go over here where it says 0 and just type in 180 so that it turns completely around. Okay, now we're going to go into advanced and we're going to go to the second area where it says no job. We're going to press this arrow 1, 2, 3 times until it says puppet, hit edit. And all we're going to do is go to the head and just raise the head. I will do that by pressing edit and moving the head up like this by moving this slider a little to the left, just slightly. And you know, we'll turn the head a little bit. We'll turn it this way. So move the Y axis to the right. 210 should be good, but if anything, we'll just turn it the other way. Okay, so I was right the first time. So go back and depending on which way is north in your world, you should use that to turn your NPC because it always turns clockwise. All right, so this is what we're trying to get at. We're gonna hit F1 to disable GUI again, and I'm gonna try to get a good angle. And I'm gonna do that by moving back. Try to get a good perspective. It's gonna be, this might take some time just to get to the right angle. And just to be safe, I'm going to move back to get more of the Steve or the player. And once you think your angle is sufficient enough, you can, while holding C or whatever your Optifine zoom key is set to, you can hit F2, and that'll save a screenshot down to your file. You know, you can actually also use this view and just take the screenshot from this perspective so that you save yourself a lot of trouble. But just so that we have more manipulation in Photoshop, we'll just do it like that. Okay, so now we're gonna leave this, and I recommend you go into super flat, which I already have loaded. I just named it that was a long time ago. We're gonna go into here, and we're going to stare at the sun until our eyes burn. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna set the time by typing in set time /set time and putting it to 12,000. That is 1,000 time before the sun actually sets, so that should give us enough time to take a screenshot or take multiple screenshots. Time set, I believe. Yeah, it's time set. All right, so we are going to hit F1 and quickly take a screenshot. I'm gonna move back to get rid of that cow. Get out of here, cow. I'm gonna take one. I'm trying to get it so that as much of the horizon or the sky is orange. Okay, so hopefully that's sufficient enough. Hopefully. And yeah, that's all the screenshots that you need, guys. After we've gotten all of our screenshots, we're going to minimize this, and I'm going to go back into the magical world of Photoshop. So I already got that opened. I'm going to click create new, and I am going to create a thumbnail. And if you're using Photoshop 2019, then now it has a couple of new features. And the first feature is that if you want to create a new template or a new image, the dimension presets are all loaded here depending on how often you use them. So I'm going to use 1280 by 720. You can go one step further and use full HD and do 1920 by 1080. But just to save file size, and because it doesn't really make that much of a difference, I'm just going to stick to the first option. So just going to call this ANTVENOM tutorial, and we're going to create this. Okay, so now we're gonna import all of our screenshots. I'll just do all of them at once. So I'm gonna go to where Minecraft usually saves all my screenshots. All right, I have the 3 screenshots, and all I'm gonna do is drag and drop them in here. Hit enter to place, hit enter to place, and hit enter to place. So we're gonna get started with the first screenshot that we took by pressing the I so that we toggle the visibility of the other 2 screenshots. So now we have this. Now let me just let you guys know like what the second feature is from now, just in case I forget. So if we hit Control T to transform the image, in Photoshop 2019 CC, you no longer need to hold Shift to maintain the aspect ratio of your image. So in order to toggle that, you might need to go into the settings, or you can hold Shift and then it'll just disable that automatic option. And it took me some getting used to. I ended up not toggling it after all, but depending on which version, if you're not using CC 2019, then all the previous versions you still need to hold Shift to maintain the aspect ratio. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the good old magic wand tool. The shortcut is W. If it's not the magic wand tool in this whole toolbar, then just click and hold and select the magic wand tool. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna select this whole area. Another thing that I absolutely love about Minecraft is the uniform color of some of the things. It makes it easy for selection. So we're just gonna select an area. If it doesn't select the whole thing, hold Shift and press another area, and just keep doing that until everything is selected. Another shortcut is holding the space bar, and this hand should appear, and just drag and just move throughout the whole image. Continue to hold shift and select those areas. Press Ctrl Z to undo. I'm trying to get like all the minor areas because it's going to look weird if we don't, and I'll show you guys why that is in a second. Okay, so there's a few other spots, but I think we got everything else. So let me just go over here, hold shift, add these areas, these blue areas. And then if you want to zoom out, just hit Control 0, just like that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is press Shift Control I, and that will invert our selection. And now we're gonna go all the way down here. We're gonna press this. This is the mask button. It looks like a square with a hole, a circular hole in the center. So we're gonna click that, and now it has been masked. There's actually some other areas that I missed somehow. So I'm just gonna hold shift, select these areas, hold shift to add the areas, and we're gonna go into the brush and make sure it's set to black. I'm just gonna get rid of these areas. Hit Control D to deselect. Now, why did that area disappear when I set my brush to black? Well, see, because we created a mask, and what a mask is, basically in the name, a mask. So if we have one of these masks, or if we add a mask, you can delete parts of an image or bring back parts of an image depending on which color that you use. So let me just show you guys right now. With the mask selected right here, if I hit X to switch my color and set it to white and paint in this area, you can see that the sky is coming back. So let me just hit Control Z to do that. Likewise, if we hit X again and choose black, it deletes the area that you paint over. So black conceals and white reveals. Remember that. And the reason why I started using masks for thumbnails and basically everything else in Photoshop is because if you erase something, how are you supposed to bring it back? You got to go into the history, you got to press undo, or you got to start over from scratch. And that's very bad if you've gotten so far into whatever you're doing, whether it be a thumbnail or just Photoshop in general. So make sure you use masks from now on. Make sure, or I will find you. Okay, so we've masked out the sky. Now we're gonna add our own sky. So now we're gonna reselect this layer by toggling its visibility. And we're going to take the sun, hit V to go back to the move tool. And we're just gonna bring it up, hit Control T, and we're gonna make the sun huge. So hold Alt and just drag it out and make it large, Remember, this is Minecraft, so it doesn't really matter if you make an image large because it's all pixels. Like, all goes down to pixels. And now we have a nice huge sun, so it looks like it's a sunset. And right now, maybe a circular sun would have been ideal. So if you have a texture pack that makes the sun circular, use that because it would look much better. Okay, so now we're gonna add our final element, and that is the Steve. So we're gonna make this layer visible as well. And you can see that my attempt of putting the sky in the background so that all we could do is just use the magic wand tool and just select everything failed. So we're just gonna go to the pen tool, which is just as good. So if you hit P, you'll go to the pen tool. It's also over here and it looks like a calligraphy pen. So we're just gonna select, we're gonna select all of the Steve just to be safe. So hold Alt and scroll up to zoom in and just click a starting point. Make sure it is inside the Steve or within the area so that it doesn't create a halo, which is like a really nasty looking outline because there's two copies of it basically. That's what we're basically going to be doing. So just start selecting, and the good thing about Minecraft, as I always say, is that using the pen tool is great because it's squares and pixels. That's all it is. Squares and pixels. So you can thank Notch and Mojang for deciding to make Minecraft the way it is. This should take like no time at all, because it's just a Minecraft player. Remember, make sure you stay within whatever you're selecting. It's not about being precise, it's about making it look good while maintaining the basic shape in mind. So after we get to our last area to connect everything, this circle should appear right next to the pen tool. So just click that to link everything. Right click, click make selection, leave the feather radius to 0 and hit OK. Now, once again, we're going to mask this selection, and we're just going to click add layer mask. All right. And now we're going to press V, and we're going to bring Steve down here so that only his elbows and up are showing. Hit Control T. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Now you can see it adds a lot of perspective, because the Steve is bigger, and then you have like the rest of the landscape in the distance. Okay, so we're almost done. Now we just need to add the Minecraft logo, because our boy ANTVENOM is a big fan of adding the Minecraft logo in his thumbnail. So I'm just gonna choose the nice clean looking Minecraft logo, because that's the one that he uses. It's the more, I think this is the one that they use for the console edition. So we're gonna drag it in, and we're just gonna reduce the size a little bit. Put it in the top left corner of your thumbnail, or top right, or wherever it would look nice. I might end up putting it here, but I'm not sure yet. So rotate it a little bit. I'm gonna reduce the size a little bit. And he likes to add like a blue outline or a blue stroke to his Minecraft logo sometimes, but I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is select the Steve layer, and we're gonna go all the way over here to the rectangle tool. Click that, and make sure stroke is selected but fill is deselected. And I think what I'm actually going to do is, actually no, we'll just leave it at white. Actually, I think you can, pretty sure you can create a gradient. Oh yes, you can. So click stroke and go to this icon. It looks like it's going from black to brighter color, and that's the gradient one. So we're just gonna create a gradient on the fly. I kid you not. Then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna choose one of these preset gradients, and we're gonna choose the one that goes into 3 colors, like this one or this one. I'm gonna choose this one, so it goes from orange to yellow back to orange. Now all we're gonna do is click this little tab here, double click it. I'm gonna set that to black, hit OK, and also set that to black by doing the same thing. We're gonna go to the middle one, double click that, and we're gonna set this one to gray. So click anyone here and just drag it and make it a really dark gray. I think that gray looks alright. We can always edit it in the future, and hit OK. So now we got our nice gradient here. And now if we go back to our rectangle tool, and if we drag anywhere, it should not make it this gradient, but that's fine. We'll just change it later. I'm gonna set the width of it to 20 by going over there. Yeah, 20 looks good, going in this little tab area. And we can just get rid of that for now. Hit Control T, put it over here, and then just drag it until it covers the entire screen. Okay, so I think I'm gonna make it a little wider. So go into the rectangle tool properties here. If it doesn't appear here, then you can just click the stroke up here and then change the width. Actually, go to the width here and set it to, just increase it a little bit. All right, yeah, I think 30 is fine. 30 should be good, and just deselect it. Okay, now we're gonna fix this whole gradient problem. Not sure where the gradient did not work, but it's simple. I'll just try it again. Double click, set it black. Okay, double click, set it black, Okay. And finally, double click the one in the center and set it to that really nice dark gray. And look at that. Look at that. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. Look at that. And we can just deselect here by clicking outside, hit enter. And now we're going to double click the rectangle that we just created so that we pull up the layer style. And we're going to add a drop shadow. And we're going to increase the spread, aka the thickness of the shadow. Maybe change the side. Set the distance to 0. Increase the size a little bit. Change the spread. And hit OK. All right. I think I'm gonna change the gradient. Make the black maybe a lightish gray. And I'm just gonna take a sample from this color so that it's uniform. Hit OK. And I think that looks better. I'm gonna make this gray a little bit lighter to compensate. So just bring it up closer to the wider area, but not too much. Hit OK. And yeah, I think this looks a lot better. Now we're gonna add a little of my own effects just to make everything much more vibrant. So we're gonna select the latest layer. I'm gonna go back here to the adjustment layers, click that, and we are going to go to curves. Now we're gonna click any point here closer to where most of the peaks are, and we're gonna make a point and just drag it higher, and then we're gonna go here closer to where the darker pixels are at the bottom left. Gonna make another point and drag it down, and you see that adds a nice contrast to our thumbnail. Okay, now we're gonna add another adjustment layer by clicking the same icon, and we're gonna go to vibrance. I love vibrance, so you can change the vibrance by moving it to the left, but saturation is much more noticeable, so let's change that a little bit. Okay, that looks amazing. Okay, and just put that away. Now the last thing that ANTVENOM does is that he puts his logo in any of the corners of his thumbnail. So if you guys have like a simple 2D logo that represents your channel or your brand, you're free to put that there anywhere on the thumbnail. But other than that, we are done with this thumbnail. So everybody, this is how you make thumbnails like ANTVENOM for the most part. If you enjoyed this thumbnail, show your support by liking the video and subscribing today. Don't forget to toggle those post notifications as well by ringing that bell right after you subscribe. That way you'll be notified of every time I upload in the future. You can check out my other 2 channels in the links in the description below, where I do podcasts and gaming videos. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. Links will also be in the description for that as well. Most importantly, don't forget to share this with any friends of yours or anyone you know that might be trying to get into the thumbnail making game, but they don't know where to start. They're probably looking for inspiration and they just need like a guide, and I am happy to be a part of that process. So thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next thumbnail tutorial. Peace.